Hello, this is George Slaughter, and welcome back to our Genesis lecture series. We had made it from Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 up until Genesis chapter 1, verse 4. And we shall now proceed to Genesis chapter 1, verse 5. The title of this lecture is Genesis 1:5, the first day, naming time and the rhythm of creation. Introduction. The cosmic significance of verse 5. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. That's Genesis 1:5. This verse is more than poetic description. It's the codification of divine rhythm, the naming of order, and the birth of conscious time. Genesis 1:5 may seem simple at first glance, but within it lies a multidimensional pattern, a sacred structure that mirrors the process of all creation, both cosmic and personal. Section 1, naming as divine authority. The verse begins, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. In ancient cultures, to name something was to claim it, to define its essence, to place it within a rational relational structure. In Hebrew thought, naming is never passive. It is active participation in ordering reality. Here, God is not merely labeling, he is assigning functional identity. Light becomes day, not because of its substance, but because of its purpose, to govern visibility, action, clarity. Darkness becomes night, not as a negation of light, but as its complement, its space of rest, reflection, and gestation. This is the sacred beginning of language as law. God's speech continues to shape the order of the cosmos. Section 2, function over form. Why does God call the light day? Notice that God doesn't call the light simply light, he calls it day. The same for darkness. He doesn't preserve it as raw absence, but recontextualizes it as night. This shows us that creation in Genesis is not merely about making things, but about assigning roles. Genesis operates from a functional ontology. Things exist not just because they have substance, but because they serve purpose. The Hebrew mindset here sees the world not as a random assembly of materials, but as a theater of intention. Each part of creation is embedded with a function in the cosmic drama. Section 3. Time begins with light. Now we arrive at a turning point. So the evening and the morning were the first day. This is the first official mention of time. Light has entered the scene, and with it, time becomes possible. According to modern physics, especially Einstein's relativity, time is measured by the movement of light through space. No light, no time. Genesis aligns intuitively with this insight. Light is spoken, then time begins. Not only does the Bible speak to spirit, it quietly echoes the quantum. Section 4, evening and morning as creative rhythm. Genesis doesn't say morning and evening. It says evening and morning. That's intentional. In the Hebrew tradition, the day begins at sundown. Why? Because creation starts in mystery. It starts in darkness. It starts in the unseen. Evening represents the void, the chaos, the deep. Morning, in contrast, represents the immersion of form, clarity, and revelation. This sequence, evening to morning, is a rhythmic echo of the creative process itself. Darkness, tahu wavahu. Spirit moves, word is spoken, light manifests, time begins, naming happens. Cycles complete. It mirrors the flow of any act of creation, whether God building a universe or you manifesting a new chapter in your life. Section 5, the day as a creative epoch. This brings us to a deep metaphysical insight. A day in Genesis is not a 24-hour tick on the clock. The word used is yom, which in Hebrew can mean day, age, era, or phase. What Genesis is describing is not a chronological time. It's a sacred sequencing. Each day is a creative epoch, a full cycle that begins in mystery, flows through divine action, and culminates in structured clarity. It is a unit of functional completion. You live through these same days now. The darkness of uncertainty, the movement of spirit, the power of intention, the light of realization, the completion of a cycle. Section 6, Symbolic Archetypes and Sacred Balance. Day and night are not enemies. They are archetypes of a balanced cosmos. Day symbolizes activity, consciousness, revelation. Night symbolizes rest, unconsciousness, concealment. Both are sacred. Both are part of the dance. This is not dualism in opposition. It is duality in cooperation. The tension between day and night becomes the stage for all manifestation. Section 7, Scientific and Mystical Parallels. Even in science, light is what gives rise to measurement. Photons define how we experience space and time. Light is not just illumination. It is the very structure of reality. Genesis affirms this poetically. It says, when God speaks light, the universe becomes measurable, ordered, sequenced. This is quantum theology in its seed form. And so, Genesis 1:5 is not a primitive mythology. It's a poetic framework for reality. A verse that encodes time, order, consciousness, rhythm, and the divine pattern of how things emerge. The first day isn't just about light and dark. It's about pattern and principle. It's about the process that governs all creation, from the microcosm to the macrocosm, from galaxies to thought. The day begins in darkness, the word is spoken, light emerges, identity is assigned, and a sacred cycle is born. This is the first day, and it is the pattern still shaping everything.